Okay, everyone, take a look. A lot of green on the screen today. The Dow up 313 points, the S&P 500 up 39 points, so almost a 2 percentage point gain for each of the major indices here. You can see oil up as well. CLZ is the symbol right by the NYSE sign there that you're going to see there. The market's moving closely to oil, but today it is all about the election and what we heard yesterday, that the FBI is not going to be moving forward on charges against Hillary Clinton. Okay, well, joining us now is Levin, the CEO of IAC, after the company reported better than expected earnings and sales just last week. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
And disclosure, Vimeo is a partner of Cheddar, or Cheddar's a partner of Vimeo.
Yes.
Joey, so
Both ways.
top line, you did 764 in revenue versus consensus of 756. And good earnings. What overall drove to the good parts of the quarter?
It was actually across the board. Match had a great quarter. Home Advisor had a phenomenal quarter. Our applications business had a great quarter. And three of our biggest businesses generally beat. So it was really across the board.
And this publishing thing, I mean, we talk a lot about media on the show. The publishing revenue, which was the reason why, year over year you were down, dropped from 178 to 75 million. And it's part of this renegotiated deal that you had with Google. And I think the people that have been longtime followers of the stock kind of know what that is, but some newbies might not. Like, what is going on with the publishing segment in Google?
Sure. We've never really sold ads. Sorry, we sell ads on a premium basis, but the sponsored listings, the text ads that you see on the web, which are the text ads that you see on Google, those ads are also syndicated to our site. We're one of Google's biggest syndication partners, and we've never sold those ads ourselves. So we've always gotten those, not always, but for 12 years we've gotten those ads from Google. And in our renegotiation with them, which launched a new deal starting in April, the revenue share on our mobile ads went down. And when that went down, that made certain marketing inefficient for us, and so we lost a lot of traffic and we lost a lot of revenue in that area for that part of the business. But we're still doing well in selling. We're actually doing really well in selling premium ads across About.com. I know you guys spoke to Neil Vogel. I think that About and the new verticalization of About is going exceptionally well, and we're selling ads elsewhere very nicely. And the remaining part of Google is performing fine for us now. The revenue per query, which is how we measure ads that we get from Google, has stabilized. We saw that going down for a little while, but that's stabilized. So overall, it's doing fine.
Analysts were very bullish after the earnings report, with Home Advisor revenues up 34%, and then obviously optimistic about what Vimeo has to offer. But as Jon mentioned earlier, I think a lot of people out there sort of surprised that Vimeo wants to launch a subscription service to take on a Hulu, to take on an Amazon, and even a Netflix. So for our viewers, how is your service going to be different from those, and how are you going to take on the incumbents?
Yeah, I don't think about it as taking on the incumbents. I don't think that it's really a finite space right now that somebody needs to come out of. I think there's a lot coming away from linear. There's a lot of spend in linear that's just never starting or ending for a whole generation of consumers that just aren't paying for pay TV in the way that people traditionally have done. You guys are a tremendous beneficiary of that. So I think that there's tremendous white space in that area. I don't expect we'll have to take away from Netflix, Hulu, or Amazon in order for us to succeed. And the way it's going with Vimeo is it's kind of a natural evolution of what Vimeo has always been, which is we're a service for creators to access their audience, to interact with their audience. And we first enabled them to sell their content on a transactional basis, so selling one video at one price. And now we're enabling them to, like Cheddar, sell their content on a subscription basis. And a natural evolution from that is for us to start to aggregate content in one subscription that our creators can be a part of, and making things easier for consumers to sort of pay once, and allowing the creators to participate in that service.
Sure.
I went back and read your letter this morning. I've actually read your letter 3 times now.
Wow.
Yeah. It struck me that you went through this whole SaaS portion, software as a service, how Vimeo provides a service which is now, it's at 700,000 payers, is that right?
Yeah, more than that.
Okay, north of 700,000 payers, people who pay to host video, professionals that exchange clips, and that then you view there as being an OTT opportunity with the business. Why do you break it out that way? Do you think it's a virtuous cycle between those two things?
Yeah, I absolutely do. They're both fundamentally SaaS businesses, so they are very similar. The way we're organized internally and the kind of customers, I think, are different. There aren't nearly as many people capable of making and maintaining a subscription service, an OTT subscription service, as there are who are capable of making one video and selling that one video. You know, it takes a testament to you guys, but it takes a lot of work and perseverance and consistency to release something that can justify a subscription regularly. And so we think about that, that sales is different. That's an enterprise sales as against the self-enroll product. The technology is a little bit different. So there's lots of differences, but they're both fundamentally SaaS businesses.
And you already have a decent amount of content, some originals too on the platform right now. People have been used to paying. The big numbers that we hear when it comes to Netflix is that the company wants to spend $5 billion on content this year and $6 billion next year. So what type of investment do you need to make in order to make this profitable and fruitful for you?
Look, we've said not material to IAC. It's. I think we're going to spend in the tens of millions of dollars, not in the hundreds of millions of dollars. And I think we have real advantages in that. I mean, we've produced series at the budgets that we're talking about, and we've produced very successful series at the budgets that we're talking about. High maintenance within Vimeo, which is an exceptional show of an exceptional quality, and I think you can compare it to the quality that's delivered now in high maintenance through HBO. It's very similar, but our budget was meaningfully lower. One advantage you have is when you start with creators earlier in their career, and I think we sort of have the next generation of storytellers within Vimeo. When you start with them earlier in their career, it's much easier to work with, the terms are much less demanding, and it's a benefit to both sides, which is we get content at perhaps a lower cost, and they get a great launching pad with something like Vimeo.
When you think of the media assets that you have, and you think of Beast, you think of Daily Burn, which is a subscription fitness program that you have as well, and then you think about the more serialized dramas and comedies that have been on Vimeo, Garfunkel and Oates, High Maintenance. Do you think IAC is going to, or Vimeo is going to sit at the intersection of all that stuff, or do you think you're going to focus on one or the other? Like Netflix and Amazon have firmly gone away from news and focused on dramas and comedies. You still have a leg in the news media business, or the timely content business.
Yeah, look, I think all those things are totally different, meaning the way we, as with everything in IAC, each business operates independently. So what we're doing at Daily Burn and what we're doing at Daily Beast have really nothing to do with each other, and also kind of have nothing to do with Vimeo. Where they're valuable to each other is in learnings. So we've learned a lot in Daily Burn, which is a OTT streaming platform with 100 and something thousand subscribers. We've learned a lot in how to operate those things, how to run those things, how to market those things. But that is a separate business with a separate P&L and a separate effort. I think in Vimeo, it will have to be narrative content. Drama will be a meaningful component. Comedy will be a meaningful component of that. And I think more so than daily news. But that's unrelated to kind of the other businesses within IAC.
As part of earnings, Vimeo said that it's going to redesign the customer experience. So what can customers expect? Well,
look, right now it's not. Vimeo was primarily designed for the creator, and so up until a couple of months ago, the main thing when you arrived on Vimeo.com was a registration page, and that's you have to start putting content up front, putting content first. So we're going to be showcasing the content in much more meaningful ways, organizing the content in much more meaningful ways, and making that content searchable. Right now, our search has a lot of room for improvement, and we've got a great team working on it.
Last question we'll ask you. I don't know if you've been outspoken at all, certainly not as outspoken as your chairman has been on the election, with us amongst other people. How you operate the business when you wake up Wednesday morning, will you be thinking about, you've been an aggressive buyer of your own shares, will you be thinking differently about capital allocation if Trump wins versus Hillary winning?
No, I don't think we'll be thinking differently about a lot of things. I'm not sure we'll, certainly not short term, be thinking differently about capital allocation. I mean, we'll want to see how the economy does, and there are things in the economy that impact our business for sure, but certainly not on day one. And I'm more concerned about other things as it relates to the election than our capital allocation on Wednesday.
What are some of those other things?
Look, I mean, I am also a Hillary supporter, and
it'd be pretty hard to work for Barry if you weren't, I would say.
Well, no, we very much value divergent opinions, perhaps not as much on that issue, given intensities, but no, we very much value divergent opinions, and we disagree on a lot of things. That's part of our process. But on this one in particular, I mean, I just had this thought the other day. There's so many ways to conceptualize this. There's millions of ways to conceptualize this. So I just thought about, imagine there's a guy out there and he's saying awful things about or doing awful things to your daughter or your sister or something like that. And now it could be the job of the Secret Service to defend that person in those actions. I mean, Isn't that just like a mind-boggling thought? I'll leave you with that one.
One that
Leave us with
voters
that.
will certainly have to think about. Joey, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for joining us.